Julie Hare.
Treasurer, thank you. Julie Hare from the Australian Financial Review. I'd like to speak to you about education. The Productivity Commission has made the point a number of times in last few months that there seems to have been a decoupling between levels of education and productivity, that we're most highly educated population ever, and yet productivity is sluggish. At the same time, the government has very, very ambitious targets around increasing the number of people with university degrees. How do you kind of see the future with a vastly educated population, 55% of young people with degrees, while productivity is stuck? How do you kind of unstick it?
Yeah, look, I don't want to front-run Jason Clare's work here, but I think the direction of travel is pretty clear. We need to modernise our education system. The way that I think about it is making it easier for people to adapt and adopt technology. But one of the reasons I wrote that long piece of work with Mike Quigley a few years ago is to try and work out how can we think differently about lifelong learning in a world where people can't just finish school, go and do a TAFE qualification or a university degree and hope that that sustains them for another 45 years of working life. We need to be able to update people and refresh people's skills and make sure that they can keep up with the way that the workforce is changing. And you know, Jason, to his credit, has done a heap of work with stakeholders who are in the room, important stakeholders, to see how we might go about that. The Universities Accord's part of that. Brendan O'Connor's work in skills, the way that we're thinking differently about identifying the skills we need and how they evolve over time. It's really all part of the same effort, which is to make sure that the money that we invest in education and training, you know, one of the most important things that government invests taxpayer dollars in, that we're getting maximum bang for buck, and we should judge that by people's ability to grab the opportunities of an economy which is being changed by those 5 forces that I talked about.
Ron Misen.
Lucky last, Treasurer, and thank you so much for sticking around for the trio of AFR questions at the end.
What's the AFR done to get the last 3?
Can't say too much.
Yeah.
Treasurer, I just want to go to your push to revitalise and overhaul the nation's economic institutions and processes, and in particular I want to go to the Australian Securities and Investment Commission. We saw during the Banking Royal Commission it was heavily criticised. Since then there's been a multitude of scandals. We've had investigations into commissioners. Yesterday before a parliamentary committee there was a conga line of people complaining about ASIC's responses to investigations, saying they didn't do them properly, including the peak body for insolvency practitioners. And then we also had the former chair of ASIC yesterday basically saying that Treasury and ASIC had failed in their work health and safety obligations towards him and others. Are you confident in where ASIC sits at the moment? You've got potentially four commissioners to replace in the months ahead. How are you thinking about that organisation and its revitalisation?
Well, first of all, we take seriously the issues that are raised at the parliamentary committee. Obviously, I have tried to stay across those matters that were raised. We are trying to reform and renew and refresh our economic institutions, and the focus has been on the Reserve Bank and to some extent the Productivity Commission. When it comes to ASIC, I think we do have a really important opportunity with these appointments all coming at one time to see that as an opportunity to refresh an organisation and an institution that has copped a bit of flack in recent times. But I don't yet have, in the way that we came to office with a very firm view about the Reserve Bank. We had partly formed but now almost fully formed views about renewing and refocusing the Productivity Commission. We haven't yet gotten to ASIC.
Treasurer, you've been very generous with your time, and I'd like to thank you on behalf of the room for being so generous with engaging with our questions.